Are you curious about the fate of white European women kidnapped by Native Americans in the Wild West? Were they merely treated like captives, or was there another reason? Here in this video, we will reveal the hidden truths about their life, including some shocking tales that may alter your perspective on the past. Stay for the chance to learn things that the classroom never covered. To start, you may be curious about the reasons behind the capture of white European women by Native Americans. It's a challenging aspect of history that remains largely unspoken, yet it was a genuine experience for many during the Wild West era. As European settlers moved westward, tensions arose with Native American tribes who had inhabited the land for centuries. As settlers moved into native lands, conflicts emerged. It was a period marked by conflict, anxiety, and the instinct to endure. Indigenous tribes frequently resisted the encroachment of settlers, and at times, settlers found themselves captured during these confrontations. It wasn't only men who were captured. Women, children, and occasionally whole families were taken during these raids. The motivations for these captures were diverse, frequently revolving around the idea of taking prisoners to trade for something valuable, or in certain instances, as means of seeking retribution for the harm settlers had caused to native lands. What became of these women after their capture? Did they simply exist in a state of fear? Or was their experience something deeper and more intricate? That's where things become truly captivating. The role of enslaved women. When many individuals think of captivity related to the Wild West, they often envision difficult circumstances, rough treatment, and ongoing hardship. And while that was true in some instances, the journeys of these women weren't always so straightforward. Some women discovered themselves woven into Native American life in unexpected ways. Some were embraced by tribes and became integral members of the community, frequently marrying Native men and starting families. The notion that every woman faced mistreatment or was compelled into servitude doesn't entirely capture the complete narrative. During raids, numerous women were captured, yet not all were confined as prisoners. In certain instances, they were welcomed into tribes and honored with dignity. They often became a vital part of the community, sharing their skills and knowledge with the tribe. Many women embraced the teachings of Native American culture, including food preparation, childcare, and essential survival skills. They occasionally developed abilities in hunting or gathering, and even contributed to the creation of clothing in poverty. What's even more intriguing is how some of these women became seamlessly woven into their captors' lives. They not only endured, they flourished. They formed deep connections with the tribe members and even discovered love in surprising places. Picture being removed from a European community, suddenly immersed in an entirely new environment, and eventually integrating into that setting. It was a significant change, but for some women, it marked the beginning of a whole new chapter in their lives. Life beyond confinement. However, not every tale concluded in this manner. For some women, captivity was a completely different experience from what I just described. In certain situations, the women were held captive for ransom or exchanged for goods. The approach differed significantly based on the tribe and the specific situation of the capture. For instance, a woman captured by the Comanche might have encountered a vastly different situation compared to someone taken by the Navajo or the Apache. However, what is truly astonishing is how some women came to value the lives they led after their capture. A number of these women came from challenging backgrounds in Europe or America. Some hailed from humble backgrounds, while others were left alone or without parents. For them, being with native tribes provided a feeling of connection they hadn't experienced in other places. One of the most intriguing aspects of this was that some of these women developed deep connections with their captors. They joined the tribes, and many chose to remain with their new families even after they were freed or managed to escape. It was more than mere survival. It was about discovering a place where they felt appreciated and honored. You may find yourself asking, did these women truly have feelings for their captors? That's a reasonable inquiry, and the response is more intricate than it appears at first glance. For some, the connections they developed with their Native American captors were as deep as any familial ties. In these situations, love wasn't solely defined by power dynamics. It revolved around enduring together, forming bonds, and occasionally nurturing a sincere warmth that developed gradually. Consider the tale of Rachel Plummer. In 1836, she found herself in the hands of the Comanche, and despite having every reason to hold a grudge, she developed a deep bond with them. As time passed, Rachel grew to be a significant part of the tribe and eventually wed a Comanche warrior. When she was finally free, Rachel didn't merely walk away from her life with the tribe. She took her Comanche-born children with her. It's a lovely illustration of how these women occasionally viewed their captors as part of their lives, rather than mere adversaries. The consequences of freedom and liberation. Certainly not every woman in captivity experienced that circumstance. Some women found their way to freedom, whether through escape or negotiations, and their experiences were often a blend of relief and uncertainty. Upon returning to their previous lives, many discovered they were caught in a delicate balance between two realms. They often found it challenging to reintegrate into European society, and at times they faced difficulties in carving out a space for themselves. Many found themselves pondering their true sense of belonging, whether it was with their European families or with the native communities they had come to understand. Interestingly, many of the women who returned to European society found it challenging to readjust to their previous lives. Some were no longer embraced by their families, who saw them as marked by their experiences with the Native Americans. Some individuals were so transformed by their experiences that they found it difficult to reconnect with their former lives. Some had children from their unions with indigenous men and found it challenging to part ways, while others had adapted to new values that diverged from their previous cultures. The emotional burden was significant for many of them. It was more than mere existence. It encompassed their sense of self, their connection to others, and the bonds they had formed with those they cherished. The feeling of solitude they experienced when coming back to their European or American homes was at times overwhelming. These women weren't merely captives who returned home. They were individuals who had to reconstruct their entire lives, and often that meant beginning anew from the ground up. For instance, a woman named Mary Campbell was taken by the Delaware tribe at the age of 10. After a long time, she was finally freed and reunited with her family. But Mary found it difficult to return to her previous way of living. She had been raised among the tribe, and while her love for her family was deep, the memories of the world she belonged to lingered in her heart. Leaving the tribe was a difficult decision for her, and despite attempts to return to her previous life, she constantly felt like she didn't belong. Notable tales of enslaved women. There are tales of remarkable women who faced capture and eventually found their place in the annals of history. Cynthia Ann Parker's story is well known. She was taken by the Comanche at the tender age of 9. She devoted nearly 24 years to the tribe, ultimately marrying a Comanche warrior and starting a family. Upon her return to Texas, she found it difficult to reintegrate into her previous life and deeply missed her Comanche family. Her story serves as a poignant reminder of the profound impact these experiences had on the women involved. Another remarkable tale is that of Sarah White, who was taken by the Apache. Sarah's journey is remarkable, as after her capture, she discovered a meaningful role within the tribe. She decided to remain with them despite the opportunity to go back to a previous life. Stories like Sarah's reveal the intricate dynamics that existed between captors and captives, highlighting how the distinctions between prisoner and community member could occasionally become indistinct. It's essential to keep in mind that although these women endured significant challenges, their lives following captivity were not solely defined by pain. They focused on strength, flexibility, and endurance. They discovered ways to move through intricate social landscapes, and many of them found joy in unexpected places. Influence on historical events and societal views. Now, let's pause and reflect on how these stories are cherished in the present day. For an extended period, the concept of Native American captivity has been depicted in a biased manner, primarily emphasizing the violence and hardships experienced by white captives. Hollywood and popular culture often highlight the victim narrative, while the more complex experiences, such as those of women who decided to remain with their captors or discovered contentment in their new roles, are frequently overlooked. But today, historians are beginning to view these stories through a new lens. It's not solely focused on the captors or the captives. It delves into the intricate interplay of survival, culture, and identity. By sharing these narratives in a more harmonious manner, we can begin to appreciate the common humanity that was present on both sides of these historical struggles. These tales invite us to reconsider our perceptions of the Wild West. They reveal that the past was much more intricate than the straightforward stories we frequently heard. The journeys of these women reveal the complexities of human existence, resilience, and the strength found in sharing cultures. This is a chance for us to reconsider our perspective on those who experienced this challenging period. These stories show us that history has layers that go beyond our usual understanding. If you found this video enjoyable, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more intriguing insights into history. Thank you for tuning in.